Welcome and good evening to Adventures in DeFi Kingdoms. This is Raph streaming to you live high above the keep in the hot air balloon. Tonight, as always, I have Neindorf. Neindorf, how you doing?
Doing pretty well, I guess I'd say. Getting ready for some overeating. How about yourself?
Uh, we're doing all right here at the Raff household, recovering from a variety of, you name them all, illnesses at the moment.
Oh,
Um, and so it's been a bit of an adventure over the last couple days. We got strep, RSV, going on in the house right now, so a little gravelly at the moment.
yikes. Well, feel better, everybody.
Yeah, but everyone is doing, I would say, on the mends now at least. So that's good.
Very nice.
Well, one thing here for our YouTube listeners, my internet's having some challenges here at the new place, so something for me to work on between this stream and the next one. So I apologize. You're gonna have a little bit of lagging tonight. And hopefully we can rectify that going forward. All right, so Neindorf, it's been a while since we chatted last, and
It has.
one of the challenges, and let me try to reset my screen here. All right, I'm having all sorts of problems tonight. I got OBS lagging out on me. All right, can you say something quick? I want to make sure my settings are working.
Sure.
All right,
Yeah.
we can hear
We'll
you. We
we'll get
can't
there. We'll
see
bear
anything
with
that
it.
I'm doing. So we're going to work through this. Why don't we jump into Dev Dive? That gives me some time to click around while you're going through what you've been working on in the lab.
Yeah, absolutely. So honestly, we've been hard at work getting some of this tournament tracking for Fight Club a little bit more ironed out. We're working on what we've released for this round of tournaments. Is that the site can track all the payments, very similar to how our paid subscribers basically just are sending Crystal to a particular address, and the site will register that, and it'll mark you as paid. And then once these tournaments are done, in the future, we'll have it so that it actually does payouts automatically too. But right now, we're going to kind of have our host manage all that, kind of doing an iterative approach here. And I think Guy Kid's running these, and as you guys have who have been in these tournaments before know, he'll make sure the winnings go to the right person, no doubt.
Yeah, that's I'm really excited about this, and we got two tournaments coming up here.
Yeah, what do you
Um,
think about two?
I'm kind of excited. I feel like they are enough different from each other that we're not going to run into any issues or problems with having both of them going on at the same time. So one's a baby cup and the other one is a heavyweight tournament. Are you planning on entering any of them?
I'm not sure yet. I'm still playing it by ear a little bit. The Baby Cup, I have no level one heroes at the moment, and I don't know that I'm gonna go on a shopping spree necessarily. And then it's kind of the same thing. I mean, the heavyweight one, I just haven't practiced at all. So I think that one's very interesting. I would like to get into it, but man, I need to, if I'm gonna do that, I really gotta jump in and start practicing. Yeah, if you've been watching, there's some incredible talent out there in this Fight Club game already.
Yeah, there's some real strong fighters and heavy hitters that we brought in recently, and I'm looking forward to going to the mat and battling it out for sure. Well, it looks like we're probably we have poor streaming quality and apparently we have poor OBS quality here tonight. So looks like we're blank screen in this one for now, and then we'll probably make this a bit of a shorter pod based on the
Sure.
technical difficulties, and then go over to a summons night for those of you who can kind of tough it out with us. So apologies for this one. Certainly not what I was hoping for, as we are kind of kicking things off into Thanksgiving here.
Yeah, the transition always can be, like you said, you're still getting settled a bit there, aren't you, over at the Raff household?
Yeah, and I got some Gen ones, I think, crying upstairs too. So, all right.
Ah, yes.
One of the things that I wanted to go through briefly, since we haven't spoken in a while, are what are some of the possible investment strategies? And again, this is all not financial advice. We are not financial advisors. But what are the things that I guess, maybe not what you're going to pick, but what are the things that what are the different options that you see going into the launch of Serendale 2.0? And yeah, let's start there with what do you think the list of options is?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, there's the obvious plays, right, that are always going to be there. You're going to have C Jewel, and then you're going to have the opening of S Jewel. And then, needless to say, gardens. And the garden rates, we're pretty sure, will rise fairly significantly in Crystal Vale as people will remove liquidity in order to bridge it to Clayton and form some of those initial pairs and get some of that real juicy uh, initial launches of Jade. So I think there's some other things that I think we really need to be thinking about also. The Serendale 2.0 launch is obviously weighing heavy on everybody, and people are really excited for it. But I actually think that there's a lot of potential investment in items. Items are dirt cheap right now. I think once we get some of these crafting things, possibly profession quests level 10, I mean, you're going to start to see some interesting things here where I do believe if pets are going to be involved, they're going to need to be fed. And I just kind of have this inkling that some of these items that we've been grinding for are gonna start to become more valuable here pretty quickly. Um, and that kind of jives with someone I was talking about. They're like, hey, feature request for the ADFK site. It'd be really cool if I could track, the profits or what are my potential earnings on the LP. And I think specifically this user was referring to non-gardens LP. So like,
On
how much could I earn on
heroes?
my crystal gold, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's another thing to keep an eye on. LP, even in the non-rewards, is actually not too bad. It's just very difficult to track. And so, I took that note down from our user, and I think that's something that I'm actually very interested in maybe providing a new page for. And we've got full market data, and there's only a couple other things I need to correlate. And then we could possibly have here's your expected ROI based on your fraction of this liquidity pool. So I don't know. There's some of that kind of stuff I think we need to really keep an eye on. And then of course there's always uh, investing in heroes. The true degen play, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the route I'm going. I'm looking at getting another pair of Gen Zeros. Um, as I've, been kind of sinking into this game, I feel like I'm struggling to see kind of what some of my I feel like there's a lot of different options between C Jewel, S Jewel, Gardens over in Serendale 2.0, Gardens in Crystal Vale 2.0,
Right.
items themselves, heroes, and I'm kind of struggling with, what of those is going to potentially be the most lucrative. And I have a strong feeling and strong hope that heroes will continue to be a steady investment. Because with the Gen Zero, ideally you can always turn around and then sell it back for a similar value to what you made it. And so the value that you're earning over time, if you think about your payoff at the end of that calculator, um, you're making you could end up turning quite a bit. So I'm kind of looking for I don't know, a safe way to progress over the next few months. I do want to keep anything that I have left over, which I'll be kind of struggling to make that a reality, having any leftovers. But I think I want to keep them as liquid jewel. That way I can start laddering some profits as the game ideally starts to go up in price.
Sure. Yeah, I think I like that approach. I think, one thing I would say in a lot of the conversations I've been in recently too, or where people are asking or swapping or trading heroes or, buying, selling this and that, I've been noticing a lot more people who what they're asking in exchange for their item or their expensive hero is a pile of floor heroes.
Hmm.
So I think that's very interesting. I think there's 3 or 4 times on various discords I've seen people asking for that. And I that it makes you wonder, are people kind of thinking maybe what I was mentioned earlier, maybe these items are going to turn a profit here pretty quickly. And I mean, with the floor being, mid 30s of crystal, and you can soak up a ton of heroes for very little actual US dollars.
Yeah. I think that that could happen in the short term. I think the game certainly needs to work itself towards having in game PvP or third party PvP that becomes even stronger. Big proponent of Fight Club, so go check that out if you haven't. But I think ultimately the game has to be fun to play at some point. Um, but I think that there's a little bit of runway left from the community that we're going to be willing to do some of this. I almost see it being like escalation style activities, what you're describing. That's kind of what it sounds like to me. Where now I have to use my pets, and now I have to feed my pets, and now I have to craft some items, and now I have to, have collect all the materials to craft my items or craft my weapons. And I feel like
Right.
each of these is, you're kind of layering yourself deeper and deeper into the game, which I'm okay with. I'm a DGen maxi for life. Um, I think that ultimately we'll still have to get some kind of fun payoff at the end with that PvP, maybe PvE combat. Whether it's third party software is just really taken off and hitting mainstream, or their own PvP that they're building with Wisdom Labs, which is I believe a Q1 launch date. So I think they have about that much window and goodwill built up in the community. I mean, it's still fun. It's a fun game to play. Um, it's almost like a Sims style game, because you're not doing any battling, but that's still I'm still enjoying playing on a daily basis.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into it a whole lot. Honestly, as feature requests keep coming in, the life of a coder is kind of where I've been stuck at. But yeah, I have no qualms there. I love what I'm doing for DFK, and honestly, these tools benefit me too. So maybe there's a little selfishness in there too.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Well, um, before we end the stream tonight, as we are in the week of Thanksgiving, I just wanted to give a shout out, a thanks to the community that we have out there. Um, and I know you probably have some thanks to give out as well, Nine Door. But, just a great community. Really thankful for all of our listeners out there sticking with us, even when we got crappy podcast streams going on. The turnout of people for the Fight Club event over the last couple weeks has just been incredible. And then going into the next tournament, really excited about the family that we've built with this community and the people coming into the ADFK guild. We haven't done a lot of talking about new guild events, and so that's why we're going to switch over to Summons Night. After this, we want to keep those guild community events alive and well, and really want to start emphasizing those on a weekly basis. And so that's going to be after the podcast on Wednesday nights. Every Wednesday night, weekly, we're going to be doing a, a bit of a summons night, and hopefully this becomes so popular that it can sustain itself. And the rest of you out there, you enjoy doing this. So big thank you to all of you out there.
Yeah, I think you're right. Approaching Thanksgiving, there is definitely a lot in this to be thankful for. I think you nailed it with community. Yeah, some recent events kind of had me knocked down a peg or two, and I would say that between Raf yourself and a couple other members of our community who really kind of stepped up to kind of pull me back off the ground a smidge maybe. Uh, so yeah, those sorts of things are amazing. And it's not something that I ever really anticipated stumbling into when I got into DFK. I never didn't really expect there would be such a community around it. And so it's really awesome, first of all, and I'm thankful for that 100%. And it's also that's kind of what you and I kind of got into this for. We really wanted to see if we could provide useful information and tools for people, and so I'm hoping that people continue to see them as helpful and useful. And from what I can tell, the support that I got here recently, I think we're doing all right. And I think we're here for the long haul for our users and for our listeners. So Love it.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we're gonna end tonight's stream and jump over into Summons Night. We'll probably do a little more um, casual conversations going on there, and we hope to see you very soon. So, thank you, and good luck summoning.